Welcome to Study Loop.
So we have a U-shaped tube, and we have oil on one side of the tube and water on the other side. And then there's a barrier separating the two. And the liquids do not mix. So when the barrier is removed, pressure should be equal, which essentially means that the density of the water times the height should equal the density of the oil times the height of the oil. Here we have an initial height of 25 centimeters, and then the density of the oil will simply equal the specific gravity of this oil times the density of water. So here we're going to have to substitute for these, and because the density of the water is greater than the density of the oil, the height of the water will actually decrease while the height of the oil is going to increase. So plugging for this, we can say that the density of water times 25 centimeters minus this sum h, some height change, equals 0.8 times the density of water times 25 plus the same height change. So here we can cancel out the density of water, and we find that h is equaling 2.777 centimeters. The height of the water is decreasing, so this would be 25 minus 2.777, and this is going to be 22.223 centimeters. For the oil, we have 25 plus 2.777, and this is going to be 27.777 centimeters. So as you can see, because the density of the water is greater, the height is going to actually decrease, and because of this, in turn, the height of the oil will increase. Now the question is asking if the density of the B1 says if the density of the oil were the same as the density of the water, then of course the heights of both of these liquids would be equal. And this is only because the same pressure is equal on either side. On B2, it's asking how would happen if the density of the oil was much less than the density of the water. And we can see in the previous slide, in the first workbook, if the density of the oil was much less, that means that the height of the oil would decrease greatly. Increase, actually. Apologize. So if the density of the oil is much less than the water, that means that the water is exerting the pressure is equal on either side. However, the height height is going to be the factor that accounts for this change in density. So if the density is if the density of oil is much less than water, the height of the oil would have to increase greatly in order for it to exert the same amount of pressure as the water is exerting on the other side of the tube. So these would be the answers. The heights would be for B1, the heights would be equal. And then for B2, the height of the oil would increase greatly. And that's the end of the solution. Thank you for watching.